I was sitting alone in the family living room, the old wooden clock ticking loudly on the wall. The air felt heavy. My hands trembled as I held my phone, waiting for news about the inheritance. My heart hoped just a little that they would be fair. After all, I had loved Grandma deeply. I had cared for her when no one else did. Then my phone rang. It was my cousin Mark, his voice as cold as winter ice. "We had a family meeting," he said without a drop of warmth. "We've decided. You're out. You get nothing." His words crushed me. I felt my chest tighten as if the very air had been stolen from my lungs. "But why?" I asked, my voice shaking. "It's done," he snapped. "You were never really part of the plan." The call ended, just like that. Tears blurred my eyes. I dropped the phone and it landed with a hollow sound on the floor. My world had just been ripped apart, and no one seemed to care. But little did they know. Grandma had a secret. I stayed there, frozen as shadows crept across the walls. The family portraits around me seemed to watch in silence, as if they knew the betrayal before I did. My heart was heavy, too heavy to carry. They had cut me out like I was nothing. All those years, birthdays, holidays, caring for Grandma when she was sick, holding her hand through her final days. And this was my reward? Left with empty hands and a broken heart. My breath shook as I stood up and walked to the old wooden cabinet in the corner. It smelled of Grandma's lavender perfume. Slowly, I opened the glass door, running my fingers over her photo. Her eyes seemed to speak to me, gentle and kind, as if whispering, "Don't give up yet." A small tear slid down my cheek. I whispered to her photo, "Grandma, I don't know what to do. They've turned their backs on me." And then I saw it. Something I had never noticed before. A tiny hidden drawer at the bottom of the cabinet. My heart skipped a beat. What was this? My hands trembled as I reached for the tiny drawer. It was old, carved with delicate flowers. I never noticed it before. Maybe I never thought to look deeper. With a soft click, it slid open. Inside, there was a folded letter tied with a faded blue ribbon. My heart pounded so loudly I thought it might burst from my chest. Carefully, I untied the ribbon and unfolded the letter. The handwriting was unmistakable. It was Grandma's. "If you are reading this, my dear, it means they have betrayed you as I feared. But do not cry. What they do not know is that I trusted you with my heart and my secrets. There is more than you think. Follow my words carefully, and you will find what they tried to steal from you." Tears poured from my eyes. I held the letter close to my heart, feeling her warmth through the paper. Suddenly, the sadness inside me turned into something stronger, a spark of hope. I was not alone. Grandma had left me a way forward, and they had no idea. The battle had just begun. I sat down on the cold floor, the letter shaking in my hands. My tears fell onto the paper, smudging Grandma's beautiful handwriting. I wiped them away quickly, afraid to lose even a single word from her. "They think they have won," the letter continued. "But they forgot something very important. They forgot you were always by my side. While they chased after money, you cared for me with love." Her words cut deep into my heart, yet they healed me at the same time. I could almost hear her gentle voice whispering in my ear. "Underneath the cabinet," the letter said, "you will find an old tin box. It holds the truth that will set everything right." My hands shook more than ever. I reached under the cabinet, my fingers brushing against something cold and dusty. I pulled it out, an old rusted tin box, locked tight. For a moment, I just held it, pressing it to my chest. "Grandma," I whispered, my voice cracking. "What secret did you hide from them? Please guide me." In that quiet room, I felt her presence stronger than ever. I looked at the tin box, feeling both fear and hope burning in my chest. It was locked, old and fragile. I searched the letter again, my eyes catching on the last line. The key is hidden where I always kept my heart safe, it read. Where was that? My mind raced through memories, her jewelry box, her Bible, her favorite teacup. Then I remembered. Grandma had a small wooden heart that she kept by her bedside. She always said, "This heart holds my love and my secrets." I hurried to the small shelf in the corner where her wooden heart sat. With shaking fingers, I opened the little heart-shaped container. Inside, wrapped in soft cloth, was a tiny brass key. Tears filled my eyes once more. "Grandma, you really thought of everything," I whispered, my voice full of both sorrow and wonder. I rushed back to the tin box, my heart pounding. Slowly, I turned the key in the lock. With a soft click, it opened. Inside, old papers and a yellowed envelope waited. My breath caught in my throat. What was this? I unfolded the papers, my eyes wide with disbelief. The first was a letter, marked, "To my dearest grandchild." "My precious one," it began. "If you are reading this, it means they have shown their true hearts, full of greed and coldness. But you stayed true to love and kindness. That is why I leave you what they never knew existed." Tears streamed down my face. I could barely read through the blur of my crying eyes. Enclosed is the deed to my hidden property, and the bank account details I never told them about. You, my darling, are the rightful heir. They took from you, but now you will rise. My hands trembled as I pulled out an old property deed and a bank statement with numbers that made my breath stop. It wasn't just money. It was everything. Enough to build a future. Enough to show them I was never powerless. I clutched the papers to my chest, sobbing. "Grandma, you saved me." For the first time since the cruel phone call, a spark of strength lit inside me. My heart, once broken, began to mend. The fight was not over. I sat on the cold floor, still holding Grandma's papers close to my chest. My heart beat so fast I could hear it echo in the quiet room. The family thought they had taken everything from me, but they were wrong. Very wrong. The bank statement showed numbers that my eyes could barely believe. Years of Grandma's savings hidden away where no greedy hands could reach it. And the property deed. It had my name written on it, clear as day. A tear rolled down my cheek as I whispered, "Grandma, you loved me more than I ever knew." My mind was full of memories. All the times I sat by her side, not for her wealth, but because I loved her. The way she held my hand when I was scared. The way she smiled, even when she was tired. Now I understood why she trusted me with this secret. They thought they had won, but they never truly knew Grandma's heart. As I placed the papers carefully on the table, I knew something deep inside. This was no longer about the money, it was about showing them the truth. And I would. Suddenly, a sharp knock broke the silence. My heart jumped. My hands shook as I quickly wiped away my tears. Who could it be? I wasn't expecting anyone. The knock came again, louder this time. "Open the door," Mark's voice barked from the other side. "We need to finish this." My chest tightened. They were here. Maybe they thought I would beg them, plead for a share of what was once mine. But not today. With trembling hands, I gathered Grandma's papers and held them close. Slowly, I walked to the door. Before opening it, I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "Be strong. For Grandma." I opened the door just a little. There stood Mark, arms crossed, a cruel smirk on his face. Behind him were my other cousins, faces cold like stone. "I hope you're not still dreaming," Mark sneered. "The inheritance is settled. You get nothing." I looked straight into his eyes, feeling a fire build inside me. "You think you know everything," I said softly, my voice steady. "But you don't." His smile faded for the first time. They had no idea what I was about to reveal. They pushed their way inside, laughing like they had already won. "What's this?" Mark mocked, pointing to the old tin box on the table. "More of your foolish hopes?" The room felt smaller with them inside. My heart pounded, but I stood my ground. Slowly, I opened the box in front of them, I took out the letter and the deed, laying them on the table like a final card in a game. Mark's eyes narrowed. "What is that?" "This," I replied, holding up the deed, "is the truth Grandma kept from you. She trusted me, not you. She left me everything you tried to steal." The room fell silent. Another cousin grabbed the papers, scanning them quickly. His face turned pale. "No, this can't be," he stammered. Tears filled my eyes, but they were not tears of pain. They were tears of strength. "You took away my place in the family," I said, my voice firm, "but you cannot erase the love Grandma had for me." They stood frozen, faces full of shock and fear. The moment of truth had begun, and they were not ready for it. Mark's hands were shaking as he flipped through the papers again. His lips pressed tight like he had swallowed something bitter. My other cousins huddled behind him, eyes wide, faces pale. This is fake," Mark shouted, but his voice cracked. "It's not," I replied softly, my hand still holding Grandma's letter. "You never cared enough to see what she truly left behind." Mark's face turned red with anger. She was old. She didn't know what she was doing. But deep down, we all knew that wasn't true. Grandma was wise until her last breath. She had hidden this so well, knowing how greedy they were, knowing they would try to erase me. I felt tears filling my eyes again, but this time, they were not from sadness. They were from the weight of truth finally being seen. "You all thought I was weak," I said, my voice steady, though my heart raced. "You thought you could bury me, but you forgot that Grandma never trusted any of you with her true heart." The room fell so silent I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. Their greed had finally caught up with them. As the papers lay open on the table, I gently placed Grandma's letter beside them. The words, full of her love and wisdom, seemed to fill the room with her presence. It was as if she was right there with me, standing strong by my side. Mark's eyes darted back and forth, full of fear and disbelief. My other cousins whispered among themselves, their voices trembling. "I remember," I said, my voice breaking but full of fire. "The nights I stayed awake to care for her, while you all chased after your riches. She told me stories, secrets. She trusted me with her soul." Tears streamed down my face and I didn't wipe them away. I wanted them to see. I wanted them to feel the weight of what they had done. "You saw her as a burden," I continued, my voice rising. "But I saw her as my greatest blessing." They had no words. Their silence screamed louder than any argument. In that moment it felt like Grandma herself filled the room, her spirit warm and comforting. And I knew without doubt that justice was unfolding right before their eyes. Mark's hands dropped to his sides. His face turned pale, and for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. Where did you find these?" he stammered. "In the place you never thought to look," I answered softly, my voice strong yet full of tears. "In her heart, in the love you all ignored." They stared at me, their proud faces crumbling. The mask of arrogance they wore had shattered. One cousin, Emma, whispered, We thought she had nothing left." "Because you only saw her wealth and money," I said, holding the old tin box closer to my chest. "But she had a wealth of love, and she gave it to me." Tears filled Emma's eyes. She looked away, ashamed. For the first time, I saw their pride collapse into sorrow. The family that once stood tall over me now looked so small, so broken. Yet, my heart felt both pain and peace. I had won, not by fighting them, but by holding on to love and truth. And now, they could not undo what had been revealed. The battle of the heart had been won. The room felt heavy, almost like the air itself had turned to stone. My cousins looked at one another, their proud faces now pale with fear. Mark stepped back, his voice weak. "This isn't real," he muttered, but deep down, he knew the truth. I held the deed and Grandma's letter tightly in my hands. My heart, though still hurting, beat with new strength. "It is real," I said softly. "This is Grandma's final gift to me." Tears welled in my eyes, but I did not wipe them away. I wanted them to see every drop, to feel the pain they caused and the love that still lived in me. Emma's lips trembled. "We thought she had nothing left," she whispered. "You never saw her heart," I replied. "She may have been quiet, but her love was loud enough to save me." The room was silent again, heavy with guilt and regret. I took a deep breath, my eyes never leaving theirs. "You took away my place at the table," I continued. "But you can never take away my worth." The cracks in their pride had become wide-open wounds. Mark's face twisted in anger, but behind his eyes, I saw fear growing. "You think this changes anything?" he snapped, though his voice was shaky. "We've already divided everything." I stepped closer to the table, my hands steady. I placed the papers down once more, my heart pounding in my chest. "This changes everything," I answered, my voice calm but firm. Grandma made sure of it. I watched them look at the documents, their eyes full of panic. They could not deny the truth staring back at them. Emma reached for the papers, her fingers trembling. As she read Grandma's handwriting, her face crumpled and tears filled her eyes. We were wrong," she whispered, her voice breaking. A deep silence filled the room. It was not the silence of victory or defeat, but the heavy silence of truth. Truth too big to ignore. Tears streamed down my face as I spoke from my heart. "You saw her as old and weak," I said, "but she was stronger than all of you. She saw through your greed and left her love with me." They looked away, ashamed. Finally, they saw her, and me, for who we truly were. As they stood in front of me, broken and speechless, I felt my knees weaken. But I did not fall. I stood tall, because I could feel Grandma's love holding me up. I could almost hear her voice, warm and full of kindness, whispering in my ear, "Stand strong, my child. They cannot take away what is truly yours." Mark lowered his eyes, his pride shattered. For once, he had no cruel words left to say. Emma, still crying, whispered, "I never knew she loved you so much." "You never cared to see," I replied gently, though my heart ached. I held the papers against my chest. My hands, once trembling, were now steady and sure. "Grandma's love has always been my treasure," I said, "and now it is my shield." The family, who once thought they had defeated me, now stood helpless, their plans in ruins. In that moment, I knew this was not just my victory. It was Grandma's justice, reaching out from beyond to protect me. My tears fell freely, not from pain anymore, but from deep, deep relief. Justice had come, wrapped in love, and they could do nothing to stop it. My hands were steady now, but my heart still pounded inside my chest. The room felt frozen in time. My family stood before me, faces pale, eyes full of fear and regret. Mark swallowed hard, his voice almost a whisper. What are you going to do now?" I looked at him, at all of them, and for the first time I felt no fear. I felt strength, the strength Grandma had given me. "I am going to live," I said softly, tears filling my eyes. "I am going to live the life Grandma wanted for me." Emma's voice cracked as she spoke. "We were wrong," she admitted, her eyes wet with tears. "We thought money mattered more than love." My voice trembled with emotion, but I stood tall. "Love is the greatest treasure. You forgot that." I picked up Grandma's letter and held it to my heart. "You tried to erase me," I continued, my voice rising. "But love writes a story that cannot be erased." Their heads hung low, full of shame. At that moment I knew this was not just my victory. It was Grandma's final blessing shining through me. The weight in my chest began to lift, little by little, like heavy clouds parting to let the sun through. I looked around the room, still filled with painful memories, but now it also held Grandma's love, floating in the air like a warm breeze. "You wanted to take everything from me," I said, my voice filled with both pain and hope. "But Grandma's love cannot be stolen." Tears rolled down my cheeks and I let them fall freely. I wanted them to see every drop of my pain and my strength. Mark's lips trembled. We were blind," he admitted at last. Emma wiped her eyes, her voice soft. "Grandma saw something in you we refused to see." I nodded slowly. "She saw my heart." My hands held the old papers tightly, not just as proof of inheritance, but as proof of love that never fades. In that moment, I felt her with me. I could almost hear her soft voice whisper, "My child, you are never alone." For the first time, I smiled through my tears. Grandma's love had won, and it would carry me through the rest of my life. The room, once full of cold greed, now felt warm with truth and love. I placed the papers gently on the table, as if laying down Grandma's crown. My eyes, though filled with tears, were clear. "This is not just about the money," I said, my voice steady. "This is about respect, about love, about never letting go of what is right." Mark lowered his head. Emma wept quietly, and I, standing there in the very room where they tried to crush my spirit, stood taller than ever before. I took a deep breath and said, "Grandma's final gift is not just this inheritance. It is the lesson she left us, that love is stronger than greed." My heart felt full, fuller than it had ever been. As I looked at them one last time, I whispered softly, "I forgive you." Their eyes widened with shock, and in that moment, I saw their hearts begin to change. Grandma's love had not only saved me, it had saved all of us. Now, dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, if you felt the tears, if you felt the love of a grandmother who protects even from beyond, please do one simple thing. Click that subscribe button right now. Like this video to honor all the grandmothers who love us so deeply. And most importantly, drop a comment below. Tell me, did this story make you cry? Did you feel the miracle of love? Thank you for watching till the very end. Until next time, may love always win in your life. And